diversity on this team, it's ridiculous. We got depth at running back. We got depth at a lot of areas. We got young guys. We got seniors that have been playing on varsity for 3 years, and having that all come together, work as one cohesive unit, it's helped us a lot. We're going to take it 1 week at a time, and if we face St. Joe's, we'll be ready for them. We'll be ready for them.
I don't think I can wait. We're going to be practicing all weekend ready for this. So.
It was a rough start. Like 2 rival schools coming as one. It was a rough start. But we pulled it together. There's a lot of heads bumping, so we had to come as one and become a brotherhood. Our team, we're a whole bunch of dogs. Once we get together and we play together, there's no stopping us. But it feels good to be in the playoffs now. It's history. We got to make our run. We're going to be ready for them. We're going to be ready for the playoffs. We're going to try to make a run to the championship. We're going to be ready.
You think a lot of people don't know much about you guys?
No, they don't. But they're going to know now. Hartford is back. Hartford is back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Meat Grinder, your weekly dose of high school football in Connecticut. And I'm your host, Sean Patrick Boley, coming to you live from beautiful downtown Hamden. With me, as always, is Pete Paguaga from his undisclosed bunker somewhere in the southeast or west, wherever he's in an undisclosed bunker. Pete, it's Thanksgiving week. How you doing? What's up? I can't wait. We're right here. We're at the end of the season. I'm fired up.
I can't believe it. Everything I was writing like last weekend for the picks, for the extra points, I'm like, we're almost there. And then this week when I was writing the extra points, which went up this morning, the picks, which are going up tomorrow, I filled in to do the top 10 poll. And I was like, oh no, we're here. Like, this is it. This is the last week of the regular season. Thanksgiving football starts tomorrow night. Starts 22 hours from now, right? There's some games kicking off at 6:00 tomorrow. And we're here. And it was only 13 short weeks ago. We had our first, episode of the season. And
it goes fast every year.
It goes so fast. So fast.
This week is an absolute blur. I mean,
some would say not fast enough, but
this week is an absolute blur. Not a lot of games going on, but like points, more points. I cannot wait for this to be over. All I did was work on the points and try to figure, no one else is doing it in the state. No one else. It's just me. Maybe all but coaches, but they only do one each. They only do their own. They don't, I got a ton of guys texting me, a ton of guys being like, what do I got? Do I have this right? And then I make mistakes in the post we put up. I made a mistake last week saying that Bloomfield was in. I'm sorry, guys. Absolutely.
It's hard.
I forgot to carry a 1 or
well, that's the thing. Like it's people are going to freak out. Oh, you got this. Oh, you got this. Look, he's the only one doing it. And this is just, I'm going to just say this for everybody out there, because I've been reading a bunch of stuff across the state, other publications writing what these schools need to get in. One, if you're doing it, that's awesome. Good for you. If you're not, credit your sources, but also playoff berth is BERTH. I've seen that in a lot of tweets and Instagram posts of schools clinching. It's like berth, BI. I don't no, that's not it, guys. That's not it.
Well, I guess you could say if you're in the playoffs, it's the new season, so therefore you're birthed into the post.
Yeah, it's a stretch. This is canceled versus postponed all over again.
Yo, don't even get me started on that. We got lots to talk about. We're gonna run down all of. I'm not gonna do every playoff. Who needs what and what?
That's on the website. Go
on
read
the
it.
website. Get a subscription.
Yeah,
get a subscription. It'll be up. We're gonna update it as much as we can throughout the week. It was Yeah, I mean, look, but it's a lot of work.
Pat
It's a
yourself
lot of
on
work
the
to do
back.
6 divisions. It's a lot of work to do 6 divisions. It's a lot.
Yeah. Here's an annoying thing, and this was, if anyone's been around pre the new CIAC website, like if your son or daughter just started playing high school sports and you're like, oh, this is what the CIAC website looks like. The old CIAC website, like 4 years ago, like it would already have teams that were theoretically clinched. It would have it highlighted on the website. So at least like you had a little bit of guidance. Now it's kind of a free for all.
I got a coach call me and said, where did that go on CIAC? And I said, look, it's on them. If they want to get involved, they can get involved. Matt Fisher, the former guy that they had there, he built their old website and he got involved, and he retired. He left, and we miss you, Matt. We really do. I had to explain to the coach why it was not. Even Matt had to do a lot of work on that, and there's just not that person there right now.
Matt did a really good job of getting. Matt did a very good job doing a very good job. But one of the things that I really appreciated that he did was he made it a point to get scores in. Like you wouldn't get to Saturday night at 11 o'clock at night missing scores from Friday. You know, he wouldn't rely on the schools to do their part because look, we get it in terms of we ask every coach at the beginning of the year, who's your statistician, who's going to send in the box score. And at the beginning of every year, it's in the preview, and every year they read it, and then they lose one game by 30 points and the box score is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. It happens. Every coach that's listening to the show is guilty of doing it before. Oh, we lost, or I'm mad they didn't come to our game, so I'm not going to send in my box score. Yeah. And they do the same thing with inputting scores on the CIAC now because it's on the schools to do it. It's on the coaches to do it. It's on the programs to do it. And if you're 0-8 or 1-8, you might not think that your score affects anything, but it affects so much, but they also don't care because their season's over. They might just want the season to be over. They lost another game by 35 points, and they're not going to take the time to put it in, where Matt was like, on you. Guys, what's the score? Let's get it in. This affects everybody. And that is just such a problem.
Yeah, and it doesn't go out on Twitter or X, or it doesn't go out anymore. It's different now. I mean, we do a lot of outsourcing. We tell coaches we need to get a lot of stuff from them, and then the IC depends on them. Like they had to make cuts as well, and they had to. Now the site, do a lot more input, and they're like, you guys got to get your scores in. But this weekend was fine, and I suspect it's going to be fine. They were paying attention to it. The week before, I think it was just a normal night. If you didn't get it in, you didn't. They were doing state championships. They weren't going to do a lot. They weren't going to do a lot of chasing. Now this week after, we're like, look, guys, we need the scores. Everyone was in. I was able to get the points done, manually, and that was good. So other than the snafu with Bloomfield, sorry guys. It was it's tough. So I mean, we don't have the mini max thing anymore, that was a big bonus because then teams could see if they clinched or not as we went without having. Last night, I didn't even know until our boss, Sean Barker, was reading it. He was like, wait a minute, you say the worst Ledger can get with a win is 6, but wait a minute, what does that mean? Like, what if they lost? And I'm like, oh, shoot, that means Ledger clinched. Remember we used to have like the graphics, there was fewer teams. We used to do we used to make this big announcement, this team is clinched. And now it's like, oh, well, Ledger clinched. And I just I didn't even put it out online or anything. It's just. So anyway, so we have, as you saw at the top of the show, we have 30 teams in and 18 spots remaining. Let's Danny, poor Danny. I've been bothering him all week, all day, trying to put this show together. But and he's just like, when do I put this? When do I show this? Let's show the teams who have clinched. Let's start off the top. Let's see the teams that have clinched in the CI. Does he have it? I think he does. Yeah, no, that's we'll get to that. Say, hey, no, that's a playoff formula. Do I have it? Did I even give it to him? Oh man. Oh geez. Let's see. We're having a great time here. The teams that have clinched, I'll pull it up for you.
Do you want me to freelance while you?
I'll get it. This has been an absolute disaster of a week, but hang on. And go freelance. Let me just see.
Yeah. So someone's commenting on wearing my Giants shirt. It's a very comfortable shirt. I know the Giants stink, but I'm not gonna hide from being a Giants fan. But they fired their DC this morning, so that was finally a step in the right direction.
Oh my God, he's terrible.
6 games as they were winning, and they could have in the fourth quarter of the second half, and they blew it. I don't know. I'm excited for the future. I like Dart. I like Scadaboo. Love Neighbors. Carter will be fine. Tibbs, Lawrence, Brian Burns obviously is filthy. We'll have a nice early pick. Hopefully get an offensive lineman, beef up the inside, keep Jackson Dart safe. Let's see. Thanksgiving games coming up this week. So I mentioned the Stoddard Bowl. Stoddard Bowl is one of my favorites. I think I've covered the Stoddard Bowl more than any game ever. All right, I think we're good. But...
I'll start reading them off, and Danny can throw up the graphic. I just didn't give it to him. All right, here it is, the state playoff. Here we go. Here are the teams that have qualified. Like I said before, we have 30 at the top, and then that means 18 left. That's across 6 divisions, so 8 teams each. In Class Double L, same basically as last week. Fairfield Prep in 7-2. New Britain season done 8-1. They're in. Greenwich 7-2. They're in. Southington 6-3. They're in. Glastonbury 6-3. They're in. Staples 5-4. They're in. And Danbury's in for the first time since 2003. In Class L, we have 4 teams clinched. New Canaan 9-0. They've been clinched for almost half the season now. They're 9-0. Cheshire is 7-2. They're clinched. Newtown 7-2. They're clinched. And last week, as you saw at the top of the show, Weaver Hartford Public Co-op, the Hartford Co-op 7-2. They've clinched. In Class Double M, Wilton 9-1 in Windsor. They beat Bloomfield last week. Windsor beat Bloomfield last week 9-1. They're in. They're finished. Bunnell 7-2. They're in. And Middletown, despite losing to Berlin, have plenty of points. They clinched beforehand, and they're in Class Double M. In Class M, St. Joseph 7-2. Berlin, the first and right now only team that is 10-0. They're in. Guilford 8-1. They were in. They got in last week. Rockville got in this week 8-1. That's 4 in Class M. In Double S, Killingly 9-0. They're in. Nottawag 8-0. Hand 8-1. Jonathan Law 7-2. And just this week on bonuses, Ledger gets in at 7-2. And finally, Woodland, Seymour, North Branford, Cromwell, Portland, Sheehan, and Northwest Catholic, which got in after last week's show, but they are all in with 6 in Class S. So there you go, Pete. Those are finally have the graphics and finally have everything all set. So and so far we got 8 spots left, and we're gonna have in a little bit later. We're gonna talk about all the games and all that stuff, and tell you about what happened or how do you get in, who's gonna have a shot to get in, and who needs a lot of help. And it's my most favorite time of the year, as you can only imagine. But yeah, that's it's a pretty good field so far, Pete. I don't know, any teams you're hoping that might get in there?
Well, I think I don't want to give it away as we move forward. It's just it's kind of crazy that we're heading into Thanksgiving and 30 of the 48 teams are already locked up.
Yeah, I know.
We say that every year, and don't get me wrong. Yeah, I've talked to some coaches at the midway point. They had their bye after week 5, and they're 5-0, and they're like, "Yeah, we did the math. Like, if we lose out, we're probably still going to the playoffs." I'm like, I know you don't want to go 5-5, but like, it used to, like, I don't know. Every game used to mean something. I'm not going down that.
They still do in a way. It's just, but yeah, no, we've talked about it. It's when everyone's qualifying week 6.
Yeah. It's like, is it worth going out and freezing in games in November when like the teams even know that they're not really worth much?
As you'll see, yeah, no, I mean, as you get down lower, I mean, there's games I'm like, Wilton St. Joe, don't need to see it. Don't
get me wrong. If those teams want to be number 1 in the poll, there are a handful of programs in the state who want to be tops in the poll, who want to be number 1 at the end of the year, who take a lot of pride in that. And then there's a lot that are just like, hey, let's go to the playoffs, let's win a state championship, and wherever it falls, wherever we fall, we fall. And that's not a bad way to think of it either. It's just like it comes down like that St. Joe's Wilton game. I'm sure Wilton wanted to win, and I'm sure St. Joe's wanted to win, but at the end of the day, they're both just like, hey, we're probably the favorites to win state championships in our classes, so let's just stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll think about doing something in the off season. I always say this, but I really mean it this time.
I'm going to make you write it down, or I'm going to write it and then have you go in and fix
I'm going to
it.
show you how it should.
We'll go. I'll write it, and then you go in and add your stuff, and then we'll go dual byline.
We'll do it. All right. Here are all the games that we were playing this week. We're going to show up the menus, which is going to be a little sneak peek at all our Thanksgiving Day capsules on GametimeCT.com starting tomorrow morning. Get up bright and early. They should be out by about 5 a.m. when many of you are still just tossing and turning and just not wanting to go to school. I mean, you only have a few days left before Thanksgiving break. And, so you'll have some time to peruse this stuff during your free periods and all that stuff. We have all the previews and everything there. So that'll be great. But we're going to start down in Fairfield County. There are a bunch of games here. But obviously, the big ones are there are two, first of all, named the Turkey Bowl, which is New Canaan and Darien. That's the one that everyone knows. And then you also have the Weston Barlow one. But starting up on Thursday, on Tuesday night, you have Notre Dame Prep at Pomprog, which is a playoff game for Notre Dame Prep. Basically, they need to win and hope to get in. ATI, that's a win and get in versus Bullard Havens. And then Fairfield Prep playing Xavier for the first time Thanksgiving week. That is basically just for seeding for Fairfield Prep. On Wednesday night, you got Massac at Newtown, Brookfield at Bethel, and Ridgefield at Danbury. Now, the Massac game is huge for Massac. They need to win to have a shot. And Ridgefield plays Danbury, and it's kind of the shoes on the other foot this time. Danbury is already in, and Ridgefield needs to win to get into their first playoff since 2019. Then Thursday, you have New Milford at New Fairfield. That's a big one. That's a big one for New Fairfield. They need to win to get in. Weston Barlow. Barlow, I found out, just has a shot. And then you move to Thursday's games. Where are we? I'm sorry, I have it up on another screen. We have Stratford at Bunnell, West Hill at Stanford, Norwell at McMahon, and Bridgeport Central at Harding meeting for the 103rd time. Ludlow at Ward, a big one in Fairfield. Ludlow needs to win to get in. Ward trying to spoiling it. Same with the Turkey Bowl. Darien at New Canaan. New Canaan 9-0, looking to go 10-0 and knock off the Blue Wave for the 8th straight time on Thanksgiving. It's they've already won 7 straight, and the Blue Wave absolutely need that one to get in. I mean, they could sneak in with a loss. We'll get to that, but that's going to be an interesting one. The Turkey Bowl is at New Canaan. The Rumble and Trumbull. Trumbull actually has a playoff chance. Could they upset St. Joe? I don't know, but they actually are mathematically alive. And Staples at Greenwich, both teams are in, but it's all for seeding. Will those two teams meet up in the first or second rounds? We'll see. Let's go over to New Haven County. A little bit less here. On Tuesday night, HK versus Valley in the Principals Cup, which is not a playoff. No playoff implications there. The big one though, Wednesday night, Seymour at Woodland. That's not for playoff considerations, but it is for the top seed in Class S. North Branford at Coggins. North Branford needs to win to get in, but can probably get in anyway. But that's a big one for them. North Haven at West Haven. Both teams are in dire straits at 5-4, and the winner will actually perhaps keep their playoff hopes alive as they go to Thursday. And then another big one, Guilford at Hand. Both teams in this time, but Guilford hasn't beaten them since 2006. Can they win at the Surf Club? Then on Thursday, the new one, Battle for the Boot Derby at Oxford and Noggy at Ansonia. We'll see that one again. Ansonia must win to get in, although they could get in with a loss, but I would not advise it. So that's the 125th meeting between those two schools. On Thursday, the Apple Valley Classic, Cheshire and Southington for Class L and L seeding. Brantford at East Haven. Brantford has a shot, but a remote one. Sheehan at Lyman Hall. That's a huge one for Lyman Hall in the Carini Bowl. They need to win to get in. O'Brien Tech at Platt Tech. Same thing there. Platt Tech needs to win to get in. Amity at Shelton. Amity hanging on by a thread in Class L. They need to win that game. They rarely beat Shelton. They did last year, but rarely. Stoddard Bowl. Winner keeps their playoff hopes alive. Platt Maloney. The loser is out. Green Bowl. Notre Dame West Haven has a very remote shot of getting in. We like them all year, but even a victory over Hand, they might not do it. We shall see. Law at Foreign, seeding for Law. They can get a home game with a win in that one. And then Wilbercross at Hill House in the Elm City Bowl. Going over to Hartford County. Let's see here. Hartford County. you're gonna see a little bit of overlap because we kind of do like, I don't know, the regions more than anything else. But anyway, and Tuesday, Lewis Mills at Avon, E.O. Smith at Tolland. A lot of people need E.O. Smith and or Tolland to boost their playoff hopes. The big one Wednesday night up in Hartford is Wethersfield at Newington. The winner is in. Well, Wethersfield are close to being in, but Newington is definitely in with a win. And then Wethersfield needs to win and hope. If not, the loser is going to be a little bit of trouble, especially if it's Wethersfield. Plainville at Farmington, same deal there. The Blue Devils, the Fighting Tim Shays, trying to get into the playoffs there. They need to win that game. G&H at St. Paul at 6 as well. The Shunpike showdown between Cromwell, Portland, Rocky Hill, Windsor locks at Stafford, and Ellington at Rockville, 6:30 on Wednesday night. Huge for Ellington. They need to win that game. Rockville already clinched. And then on Thursday, just a few. We already mentioned Chester, Southington, Platt, Maloney. You have Bristol Central versus Bristol Eastern Central working on a 10-game win streak. East Catholic and Northwest Catholic. That's just a great battle of receivers, Pete. And Northwest Catholic trying to boost their seeding in Class S. And then, of course, Hartford Co-op versus Capital Prep at 10 a.m. So that's Hartford. And then we're going to have two more regions here. The Eastern Connecticut region and the Naugatuck Valley. Both, again, I have a bunch of overlaps here. In Naugatuck Valley and Greater Waterbury will be at Waterbury Career Academy. Waterbury Career Academy needs to win to have a shot. They need someone to lose above them in the class, double S playoffs? Yeah. On Wednesday, Thames River at Nottawag. Nottawag can get a high seed in the class double S playoffs. They are if Hand wins Hand wins and St. Joseph wins, they're looking at the 3 if they win that one. Seymour Witham we mentioned. Kennedy at Crosby. Woolkit at Holy Cross. Holy Cross needs to win that to get in. Derby at Oxford. We mentioned Ansonia. O'Brien Tech, Platt Tech, Watertown at Torrington. Torrington needs to win the helmet to get in. They could probably get in with a loss, but we'll see. In the ECC, the Eastern Connecticut region, Wyndham at Montville, HK at Valley, we already mentioned. Thames River at Nottawag, we already mentioned. Woodstock at Killingly going for a 10-0 season. NFA versus New London, the 163rd meeting between these schools. NFA needs to win to close out the class double L field. Stonington at Westerly. Westerly just won the division, one of the Super Bowls in Rhode Island, and they got to have a short turnaround to play the 165th meeting between those. Fitch at Ledger, the battle for the sword. Ledger's already in, and Fitch needs to win to get in. East Lyme at Waterford, and then Griswold Wheeler at Plainville/Quinnebog Valley Panthers, whatever you want to call them. And that one is a must-win for Griswold Wheeler if they want to keep pace and maybe get into that. Maybe get enough bonus points to pass Bloomfield. So there you go. That is the Thanksgiving Day schedule. Long story short, it's going to be great. I love Thanksgiving. Absolutely, Pete. We should never, ever lose this holiday, ever. It's the greatest.
It is so much fun. I did a lot of research into the rivalry games for my extra points column this week. And one of the things I noticed for all the great town city rivalry games, there are a lot of not so good rivalry games, if that makes sense. Like, not a lot of history behind it, or it's been really lopsided. And so, like, it kind of stinks sometimes when you're like, you're sitting there, you're like, Ansonia Naugatuck, yeah, Foreign Law, or even the Rumble and Trumbull, or Stratford Bunnell, or the Stoddard Bowl. You're like, these are great. But for every one of those, there's like 3 that are like, who cares? And there's so many times where they're switching and they're changing. Our friend, the Shelton Gales football fan, put something in the chat about when's the last time Shelton lost a Thanksgiving game. Shelton played Derby for 100 years. And then they played North Haven one year. They played Xavier a couple of years. Now they're playing Amity. And it's like, when that happens, that devalues what the Thanksgiving rivalry week is about.
Well, they lost the Derby. They lost the Derby one. Where were they going to go? I mean,
I know, but
I think they have a good one. I like Prep Xavier, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I like Prep Xavier too. But I'm just saying, it's like, we're at this point in these last couple of years. Thanksgiving football has been a heavy point of changing what the schedule could be for high school football, and Thanksgiving football is that anchor. And as we change rivalry games in these all-time series on Thanksgiving revert back to 0, it doesn't hold the same amount of weight that it used to. So like even like I like Prep Xavier. I think that's going to be a really good game if Thanksgiving football exists for the next 10 years. And just quickly, Shelton Gales fan, the last time Shelton lost on Thanksgiving was 2002. I looked it up while Sean was going through the menus. 13-12 to Derby. But like when those games go away, it loses the value and the luster that is Thanksgiving rivalry football. It's like, yeah, we're playing them this year and hopefully the rivalry sticks. But with schools co-opting and football getting smaller, look, Weaver and Hartford Public, and I know we're going to talk about them. They played for 99 years on Thanksgiving. Now they're on the same team playing Capital Prep, which is another Hartford school. So you have that like city rivalry, but is there a rivalry?
There are some of these are just matter of just changing demographics, changing schools. I mean, Hartford didn't used to have 18 schools. We'll get to that. But hey, listen, I still think the core ones are still great. And I still think if you lose one, you just build another one. That's what I think.
Are there enough core ones
I think there are plenty of
justify continuing to have Thanksgiving?
Yes.
And I'm not saying from like us, I'm talking about the people that make these decisions.
Well, I'll tell you this, every time I go to a game, it is packed. So I haven't been to a not packed Thanksgiving Day game. And varying degrees of packed, but there's been a good crowd every single
You should ask Scott Erickson.
Well, when the teams are over and they have very little history, it's a little bit different. But anyway. Well, how did everything come together? We're going to go through all the playoff divisions right now. I kind of give you the quick little rundown of it, but we'll start at the top. Let's take a look at Class Double L.
Do we want to just quickly go through the poll first to get that out of the way?
I forgot about the poll. I just skipped right over that.
Nothing changed.
I completely forgot about the poll. Nothing changed. Let's roll clip. I'm a mess, dude. Let's roll clip. Here's the latest top 10 poll going into Thanksgiving week.
There's 1 week left in the high school football regular season, and the final week is always the most exciting. But without further ado, here is the latest GametimeCT top 10 media poll as we head into Thanksgiving. At number 10 is Cheshire. The Rams were off last week and already have the Class L playoff spot locked up. They will play Southington on Thanksgiving morning. At number 9 is Windsor. The Warriors made easy work of Bloomfield 50-7 in their season finale. They now await their opponent for the Class MM playoffs. At number 8 is New Britain. The Hurricanes are off again this week and await their seeding in the Class LL playoffs. At number 7 is Fairfield Prep. The Jesuits play Xavier on Tuesday night. They've already clinched a spot in the Class LL playoffs. Coming in at number 6 is Wilton. The Warriors wrapped up their regular season with a 42-0 win over Hill House. They now await their opponent in the Class MM playoffs. At number 5 is Greenwich. The Cardinals play Staples on Thanksgiving morning, but have already locked up a home game in the Class LL quarterfinals. At number 4 is St. Joseph. A win against Trumbull on Thanksgiving morning should put the Hogs in the driver's seat for the top seed in the Class M playoffs. Coming in at number 3 is Hand. The Tigers have locked up a home game in the Class SS quarterfinals. A win against Guilford on Wednesday locks up the number 2 seed for them. At number 2 is Killingly. A win for Killingly against Woodstock Academy locks up the top spot in the Class SS playoffs. And the number 1 team in the latest GametimeCT poll is New Canaan. The Rams have already locked up the number 1 spot in Class L. The Rams play Darien on Thanksgiving morning. Like I said, nothing changed. That was the most boring poll of the season.
With that out of the way, now let's go to the Class LL playoff standings. Here we are. I remove all the teams that are basically out or that are out. And as you can see right there at the bottom, Trumbull is still it's that tough schedule that they play, still in the running here. But the top is pretty simple. New Britain is clinched. Fairfield Prep, all these teams have clinched home games. New Britain, Fairfield Prep, and Greenwich. Southington plays Cheshire. If they win, they can get a home game. Glastonbury has a shot to jump over them if they lose. The last couple come down to Staples and Danbury. Staples needs to beat Greenwich, but if they're already in, and it's just a high seed, they'll drop a bit. And then Danbury, if if they could beat Ridgefield, we'll get a higher seed there. But we could be seeing at Staples right now. They said you can see Staples would play at Greenwich again the week after. That's another thing I don't like. But hey, what are you going to do? And the last spot there is NFA. They will beat, if they beat New London, they will win, and they will get in to close out the field. Again, West Haven, they're going to need those. They're going to need NFA to lose. That's just basically it. New Haven, West Haven plays Shelton. North Haven. North Haven. Thank you. They play North Haven.
See, it's all too confusing.
They play North Haven, and Notre Dame plays Hamden, but they all need NFA to lose. That's basically it, and it's probably not going to happen. So that's pretty much wraps up Double L. I mean, and then it's all going to be seeding. Fairfield Prep New Britain for the top seed will be interesting. Fairfield Prep has a lot, so there are bonus games. I didn't show the graphic, but there are bonus games, which means that there are teams out there that you defeated or you played that will give you extra points. And if those teams win on Thanksgiving, they give you those points. And Prep played a lot of teams that have a good shot at winning on Thanksgiving. And if they get most or all of them, they're going to surpass New Britain for that final spot for that number one seed. And the New Britain will be down one. So it's all on GametimeCT. We break it all down. But it is
I have a question.
Go ahead.
A question. So because New Britain's only playing 9 games this year,
yep.
Their regular season's been over. Their numbers are divided by 9. Now their nine opponents are getting points from one less game, right? So Fairfield Prep beat New Britain, right? New Britain's only lost to Fairfield Prep this year, but Fairfield Prep's not getting any bonus points from New Britain's 10th game,
right? Yeah. I mean, that's, what are you going to do? I mean, there's some teams are going to have 9 games. I mean, it just happens.
No, I know. It's just interesting.
But it also could hurt a team. It kind of all works out because if they lose all those games, you're not getting any points anyway. So it's like they could lose that game. And I don't know. It's a good point. The real fun part is trying to figure out, the percentages for New Britain. If they win, if they get one bonus, and you're like, wait a second, how much is that worth now? It's worth 15, but how much, whatever. So, but they have a shot. Prep would need a lot of teams that they beat this year or played to get them points to get over New Britain. And I actually like their chances, to be completely honest with you. So that'll be a fascinating one. So nothing really happened this week in Class L. The big stuff happened in Class L, where Windsor. That was a game I thought was going to be interesting, but they play Bloomfield every year, and Windsor just absolutely stomped the Warhawks and made it no doubt whatsoever in that victory. AJ Robinson threw 6 TD passes, and he reached 40 for the season. Absolutely ridiculous. Just a hair under 3,000 yards for the regular season, which is insane. And his receivers were great. Man, I mean, they're excellent. They look like a top flight team right now, and a team that has kind of got its sights on the Class Double M championship. But actually, Windsor is Double M. I don't know why I'm talking about Windsor right now in the L spot, but whatever. No big deal. But that was a big one for Windsor. We'll get to Double M in a second. Man, I am just on a roll today. Okay, but the other big game, obviously, was Enfield versus South Windsor. I have no information on this game, right? Danny can roll we don't even have the footage of the final play. I wish we couldn't track it down. But in a nutshell, South Windsor needed to win. Both of them needed to win to stay alive. And South Windsor took the lead with a minute left. And then Enfield went right back down the field, had a ridiculous touchdown pass and catch. Unbelievable job. Enfield stays alive. They win that game, and South Windsor is sunk. So we just hear it was a crazy game, great game. I watched it all on Saturday, and I didn't take notes, which is I'm doing points, and I couldn't have time to do it. But Enfield, Pete, an amazing job by Brian Mazzoti's staff over there. Well, Brian's one of the assistants. Enfield, one of the assistants there. So. But,
well, James, we had a nice story. We had a nice story on the Enfield coaching family on James Liver. Cliver. A very nice story about him, his dad, his son. So go check it out.
Absolutely. Go to GametimeCT.com. The other big one was up in Hartford region as well. Weaver at Hartford Public. I got a chance to see them on Thursday night playing Ellington. Ellington 2 shots they need 1 win to get in. And this was the one they probably were going to, because that game against Rockville, they don't do very well against, traditionally speaking. But they went up there up at Harry Bellucci Field. Like I said, they needed a win to get in Ellington, but so did Weaver, Hartford, the now combined co-op. And it started off all Ellington early. Aaron Ladder threw a 46-yard touchdown pass to Eli Bowler to go up 6-0. But Jonathan Mitchell immediately responds for Hartford with this 55-yard run. And Pete, we were off to the races. Jaden Booth, the All-Stater going to CCSU, catches a short TD pass. And then right after that, he hauled in a 36-yard strike for another touchdown. He is good. First time I got to look at him all season long. There was a turnover in there. And then J.J. Perry with a nice breaking tackles and cashing in on another touchdown run to make it 24-6. But Aaron Ladder has been one of the state's best quarterbacks. And he's been known to do this. He did it against Granby Canton. He rallies the Knights back. Here's an 11-yard strike to Everett Buss, and then threw it just coming out of halftime, threw a 12-yarder to Maddox Dimofsky, to start the third to get them within 34-18. But Booth, he was ridiculous, snared that seed from freshman quarterback Caden Claflin-Coy and raced 80 yards for the touchdown. Ladder not saying die. He responds with a 29-yard strike to put, and then Ellington, to get Ellington within just a score, and they were going in for this score. They were looking like they were going to score the go-ahead touchdown, but here he is again, Jaden Booth, picked off in the end zone. Unbelievable. And it went on like this. Ellington was attempting to rally again, but on 3rd and long, here it is. Catherine McCloy finds Jonathan Mitchell, for the long touchdown, 69 yards, and that was it. Ellington scored late, but it was too late as Hartford Co-op goes on to win 42-39 and qualify for the new program's first state playoff berth. Ladder did finish with 6 touchdown passes, 223 yards, but Jaden Booth, ridiculous, caught 8 passes for 145 and 3 touchdowns. He also scored on a run and had 2 pickoffs, none bigger than that one in the end zone. And Catherine Coy, the quarterback, freshman quarterback, what poise he had. He was 11 for 13 for 215 yards and 4 touchdowns. And afterwards, Ned Griffin and I got a chance to talk to Theo Harrison, the head coach, and we talked to the man of the hour, Jaden Booth.
What was it like this season to merge like this?
Oh, it was a rough start. Like 2 rival schools coming as one. It was a rough start. But we pulled it together, brotherhood, and now look at our record. We had to come together as one, like 2 rival schools. There's a lot of heads bumping, so we had to come as one and become a brotherhood.
Given that there were heads bumping, would you have thought something like this, given the struggles you guys had, given the struggles Weaver had?
Yes, I definitely did, because our team, we're a whole bunch of dogs. Once we get together and we play together, there's no stopping us.
First and foremost, again, we came together because Hartford needed this. Both of our numbers were down at Hartford High and Weaver, so we came together as one united front to make sure that we put out a good quality team this year. And that's what took us a little time to mesh, but our goal always stayed consistent. We said that we was going to consistently practice, get better every day, and come together as a family and as a team, and that's what you see now on the field. Yes, there's currently 17 high schools in Hartford. So when you put that in perspective, a lot of kids are spread out in different schools. But again, the quality of football that we're playing right now, we're getting kids to understand that, hey, it's okay to stay in Hartford and play football for us. And that's the thing, that's our goal, and that's our long-term goal for success.
But it feels good to be in the playoffs now. It's history. We got to make our run. We're going to be ready for them. We're going to be ready for the playoffs. We're going to try to make a run to the championship. We're going to be ready.
You think a lot of people don't know much about you guys?
No, they don't. But they're going to know now. Hartford is back. Hartford is back.
Hartford is back. I love it.
I love what Coach Harrison said. Like, there's 17 high schools in Hartford. We had Harry Bellucci on the show.
When was our first guest. We did guests.
And
like 21.
And he said Well, with video guests, but yeah. But he said, he's like, look, it's kind of like a PAL league because you're taking all of these kids. And look, there's a reason why there are so many high schools in Hartford. Yeah, I don't want to get into why and why not. But when you have that, the athletics are spread out. And, look, Weaver won 4 state titles. Hartford Public won a state title, like in the 90s, right? So it wasn't really that long ago where they were good and they were state championship level good NFL players coming out of Hartford. And, it's nice to see. And I know that we've kind of talked about this. I wrote about it a little bit when I did something on Bridgeport earlier this year, but I honestly think this is the future for certain cities in Connecticut. I think a co-op in Hartford is the future. I think a co-op in Bridgeport is the future if football is going to succeed at a consistent level in those cities. I think New Haven potentially. I think New Haven's a little bit different, but I could see that being the future of New Haven football as a New Haven co-op, a Bridgeport co-op, a Waterbury co-op. I honestly think that is the future for high school football in general. We're seeing more and more co-ops each year. And I understand why co-ops exist, right? The reason for the co-ops to exist is to help these schools build up and then kind of branch out on their own. And I think that works in sports that are growing. I don't think football is a sport that's growing. And not because people aren't playing football. I just think that there's more avenues now than there were 20 years ago, right? You can go play prep school. You can go play in the NEPSAC in Connecticut or Massachusetts or in New York. You can go to so many different places to play now. And there are a lot of different opportunities.
Top players are the big thing. So those schools, well, I mean, not all of them, obviously, but kids have a lot of opportunities. They're going to go to different places. And if they can go to, I don't know, Avon Farms, I mean, that was Christian Gill from Bridgeport Central. He played all his 4 years at Bridgeport Central. And he went to Avon Farms. He's like, oh my God. Yeah, I should have been here the whole time, and I'm like, would you I asked him once, would you change it? And he goes, absolutely. I would go to Avon Farms. Like, I love my time at Bridgeport Central, but
I just think that's the future. I really do. I love to see it. And I'm sure there's alum at Weaver and Hartford Public that are like, we're going to be on the same sidelines, rooting for games, rooting for the same team now on Thanksgiving instead of that rivalry spanned 99, they played 99 times. That kind of sucks, but I think that it's the future. And I think, look, as you and we are reporters and we cover high school football, but we also love football. We also love high school football. And if high school football is going to succeed, and we want those schools to win. I mean, look, when Bridgeport Central started out 1-0, they broke their streak. We were all over it. When Harding had good teams that were going to the playoffs, we were all over it. Bassick won that great game against Bridgeport Central. We were all over it. We want those schools to succeed. And I think this is the best way for them to succeed. And I think Hartford is kind of setting the blueprint that we're going to see a lot of cities use going forward.
Well, another thing that helps them a bit is that they're in the Pequot, which is a small school co-op league.
Yeah.
Which I like. I like that idea of this is a recording. I like that idea of a co-op league, which is what the Pequot kind of is. Almost all those teams are all co-ops. I mean, North Branford is like one of the only ones.
Rockville too.
Rockville is the other one. So anyway,
but Rockville used to play in the CCC. So
yeah, I mean, so part of that is it's all about scheduling, man. And some of the schedule's a little different. You don't have to have as many resources to be successful in a different league.
Yeah, but we're talking about a lot of the things with the playoff expansion and the alliance schedule, and a lot of the things is, hey, we want to win games, we want to go to the playoffs, we want our programs to grow. Well, co-oping in certain cities will help your programs grow. And when kids see that you could be successful, it really does wonders.
Just to clarify, you can't just automatically co-op. I mean, now the CIC rule says you need to have a limited number of documented limited number of players available to do it over a long period of time. And in this case, with all the kids kind of leaving those schools, and they don't have so they were allowed to co-op. But like Bridgeport Central can't just up and co-op right now.
No,
you know what I'm
no,
saying?
but
So,
you know what? You look at again. That's
some
why
rules have to be changed, or they have
the
to
rules have to be changed. I was at the Bassick Bridgeport Central game, and there was less than 20 kids dressed on each team. So I don't want to hear that they have 1,000 boys in the school. They have less than 20 kids dressed. No, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying the rules. Like, we need to find a better way to do it, because if those programs are going to succeed, we can't just look at the enrollment number and say, well, they have 1,000 boys to pick from. Well, that's not how it works.
Right. And a lot of the best players are like, I'm out of here. They go to either one of the private schools here, or they go to Knapsack, or they go elsewhere. So anyway, we got a lot to talk about. So let's show the Class L standings here right now as it stands. This one, lot more teams have yet to clinch, but right now New Canaan is the top seed. Cheshire is guaranteed a home game. Newcomb can get a home game against Massac, and Hartford right there. Weaver can possibly get one. ATI needs to win to get in. Darien, again, win to get in against New Canaan. That's going to be tough. If Darien doesn't win that game, it'll open the door a little bit for the teams below them. Ludlow winning in, and Ridgefield winning in. Ludlow plays Ward, and Ridgefield plays Danbury. The points are all on GametimeCT.com. I broke it all down. But the winner of the Stoddard Bowl is going to get into position with a possibility to maybe outpoint Darien, or maybe somebody else if they lose. Ridgefield, people are looking at Ridgefield. Maybe Ridgefield loses to Danbury. Or will Ward show up and beat Ludlow? And if that happens, the Stoddard Bowl winner is going to look pretty good. Enfield needs everybody to lose. Amity needs to beat Shelton, the team they always have trouble with, to even have a shot. And Enfield just needs everybody to lose for that spot. But right now, if all those teams right there win, they get in. The Darien one, everyone's kind of looking at like, well, they're probably not going to win a New Canaan. And those are tough. That's a tough game. But New Canaan's kind of owned the series. We'll see Darien, but I mean, with their backs against the wall, we'll see how that works out. But so that's the Class L playoff standings right now. But obviously, the big one there. Well, we'll get to that in a second. I gotta skip ahead. I'm looking. I screwed this up too.
I was gonna say the big one to spotlight in this one is Platt Maloney.
Yeah. So thank you, Pete. I appreciate it. And it's, I mean, well, what can you tell me? You've actually seen both of them. I haven't seen. I've only seen Maloney. I think twice I've seen them, but I haven't seen Platt. Looked like they were a little banged up earlier. I mean, I don't know if their chances have improved. I mean, who do you think wins this one?
I honestly, I don't know, because like at their best, Maloney has played really well, but I've also seen that game is like what a rivalry game is like. I don't want to say, oh, you throw the records out the window, but they're both 5-4. They both had some good wins, and they've both had some bad losses. And you kind of sit there and you scratch your head and you go, what's going to happen? But I will say this. I'm picking Platt in this game. Yeah, the picks go up tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I'm going with Platt in this game. I think Maloney might have more talent or whatever, but I'm going to go with Platt in this one. They haven't won the game since 2018. Platt needed to win to get into the playoffs in 2018, and they did. They've had some tricks up their sleeves that they pulled out and were able to knock off Maloney pretty convincingly in the second half of that game. They came out in the single wing and or double wing, whatever wing it was, and just absolutely dominated Maloney. That was 7 years ago at this point. But I'm going to go with Platt in this one. I think the Cardiac Panthers have another one up their sleeve.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go with Maloney in this one. The good news there is Platt actually has a better shot to get more points to pass teams that might lose. Darien, for example, they have a better shot than Maloney does. Like Maloney might need 2 teams to lose. They might need Ridgefield or Ludlow too to lose, which that's gonna be tough. But I think Maloney. I've seen Maloney. They were right there with New Britain. They were right there with a lot of teams. They just, it hasn't really gone their way. But I'm going to go with the Spartans to extend their streak. Let's move on to Class Double M's standings right now. I already did the Windsor game for whatever reason instead of doing it here, but here it is. Windsor is clinched. They are 9-1 alongside Wilton. Both teams are finished, and it's just going to come down to points. Bonus points to see who will get the top seed there. Bunnell has a really good shot to get the 3 seed there when they played Stratford. If you're looking at it, you're like, Newington, wait a minute, why is Newington 4 and Middletown's in ahead of them? Well, because Middletown's season is over, and that's all they don't have many points. Newington has a lot more points from Middletown, but it's all about the averages, right? So right now, through 9 games, you take those points, 1,090, and you average it out. Now, when they play Wethersfield, that will either go up or down depending on how they win. But Newington will clinch a spot there if it defeats Wethersfield. Torrington, very close if it beats Watertown for the boot, right? The boot, or it's a helmet. No, it's a helmet. In that the helmet for the Raiders. We mentioned Wethersfield, and so that game right there, the 4-7 game, involves 2 teams that are in the running, and the win and the loser is going to be in big trouble, especially if it's Wethersfield. So that's going to open the door for some teams below there, possibly. But Wethersfield can still get in, or even Newington can get in with a loss. It's just going to a big, huge help was Cheney Tech losing. They had an outside chance again. They lost this week to Prince Tech. So Massac plays Newtown. The defending champs are on life support. They need to beat Newtown. And I don't know, Pete. That's going to be obviously to the two. We'll highlight the 2 games here. Newington, Wethersfield. I haven't seen either of them this year. You have, at least Newington. You've seen.
I saw Newington week 1.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I haven't seen either Massac or Newtown this year. No, I have not.
I saw Massac week 2 or week 3.
Kind of. They lost to Barlow, which put Barlow back in the race, and that was a tough loss for Massac. Now, let's start with that one, Pete. Newtown versus Massac. Who do you got?
I said it's been a while. It hasn't. I was at Massac beating Newtown not that a couple of years ago, so I don't know what I was thinking there. But I'm going to go with Newtown in this one. I don't think this. Look, Massac, new coach. They graduated so much from last year's team. I think they'll be back in contention next year, but I also think this Newtown team is really good, and we really don't talk about them a ton. They lost to Windsor, lost to New Canyon. We kind of like forgot about them, but I think Newtown is still a really good team, and I'm gonna go Newtown over Massac.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I think Newtown's gonna end the defending champs run short of the playoffs this year. Massac's playing a lot of young kids, and like you said, I think they'll be back. I mean, like Chris Pace is a good coach, and I think those guys
really good coach.
Yeah, everyone at Massac, I know you guys are getting a little like antsy. Let's calm down. I know you'll be back. You'll be back. In that game, the other game, Wethersfield versus Newington. That's on the grass at Newington, one of the few grass fields left. Hope it doesn't snow or rain. But I'm gonna start with this first. Pete, I feel like Wethersfield's on a roll right now, and I haven't seen them all this year, but I know Newington's got some, absolute just great players. Heath Whedon, obviously, and Josiah Sims. But that offense just really bothers me, man. They just don't seem to score nearly enough. They got the defense, but don't have the offense to match. I kind of feel like I like Wethersfield in this one. It's just kind of a hunch. I think Wethersfield's going to kind of take care of business here for themselves. And then Newington will get in as well. So that's going to kind of close up the class, if you want my honest opinion on it, though. But I don't know. What do you think?
Hey, look, St. Joe's doesn't score a lot of points. New Canaan doesn't score a lot of points, but we love them too, right?
But they're all, but it's a little different. But okay.
It is. I will say this. I'm going with Newington in this one. Josiah Sims this year, 136 carries, 1,055 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns. He's rushed for over 100 yards in his last 3 games. He could also catch the ball. It's 261 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. In his last game, 2 games ago, he had 104 rushing and 104 receiving. And he's also a really good defensive player. Obviously, Heath Whedon as well for Newington. I like Newington in this one. I'm going to go with the Nor'easters.
Yeah. If you remember last year, Wethersfield won on Thanksgiving Eve.
Yep.
And then they met again in the playoffs at Newington.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really tough one. But yeah, so that's class double M. Let's go to everyone's favorite class M. And the big we'll just take a quick look at the standings here. St. Joseph 7-2, Berlin 10-0. Guilford 8-1. They're in as well. Rockville also looking to lock down a home seed by defeating Ellington in the 4th spot there. Everybody else is basically winning in. Brookfield, Lyman Hall against Sheen in the Carini Bowl, Holy Cross against Wolcott, and Platt Tech. Platt Tech for their first ever state playoff spot needs to beat O'Brien Tech in the 7 Mile Bowl, because that's the distance between the two schools, the 7 Mile Bowl to close this class out. Waterbury Career Academy needs one of those teams to lose. Everyone's kind of pointing at Lyman Hall. I mean, I saw Lyman Hall get kind of buried by Guilford. The schedule's been kind of light. I do love Ryan Casey. He was first-team SEC quarterback for this year. He was one of them. And I think they're a really good team on the rise, but they got manhandled by Guilford. And that might be the one right there. I mean, Sheen kind of dominates that series. But I think that's the one team you look at, like, all right, Waterbury Career, if you can beat Willoughby, which they probably should, that will be the spot to get it in. Everyone else needs 2 or more to lose. Brantford, East Lyme, North Haven, and Notre Dame, even Notre Dame Prep. If enough teams lose there, those teams that lose can still, I mean, Lyman Hall still has a shot to get in. It's going to be very tough for them, but I don't know. Brookfield's not going to lose to Bethel, I don't think. But Holy Cross and Wolcott's playing better. I doubt it, but I don't know. But like North Haven, Notre Dame Prep, they need a couple of those teams to win to even have a shot. But Waterbury Career Academy is in the running there. But to circle back a bit, we did talk about Berlin being the first team to finish the season undefeated. And on Friday night, that's where I was. I wanted to see them against Middletown, which is also going to the playoffs. And roll tape. Here we go. Over at Middletown, Berlin took the opening kickoff, went on a long clock-eating drive, and scored on a Ryan Lavender, who's got a cast on that. Look at that big club on that arm. It's going in for the score in a short run. He missed a few games this year, injured all last year. Good to see him scoring there. First Middletown play from scrimmage. Oh, it's a bad snap. Went all the way into the end zone for a Berlin safety, and that made it I think it was 9-0, and then Berlin took the free kick and scores on a 17-yard run by quarterback Cody Puzio to go up 16-0, and Middletown only run one play. The Dragons did pull within 16-6 on a Brendan Smith touchdown run, but this kid was great. Ryan Granger, the O-lineman, D-lineman, number 54 in your program. He has one of his 4 sacks to force a punt, and then Carmen Rio. Look at this catch from Puzio. Wow. My goodness, he made a ton of these plays. Great looking player on that, and Puzio busts through the middle to score again. And then Middletown was driving to try and make it another. Middletown was trying to keep pace and keep back in this game, but Granger right here, 54, like nowhere to go, sacks him. And that was one. And then the next play, here it is. Beats his man, downs him again. He's got 10 sacks this year. He had another one in the third quarter. Look at him. He started counting to his teammates. That's 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3 sacks. He had one more. And then it was basically off the races there. Eli Rice scored on a 39-yard run. And yeah, it was a 38-yard run. Then Carmen Rio hauled it a 67-yard touchdown. Here he is is that him with the pick? I think that's Rice with I don't even know now. That's someone with a pick there, but then there it is. Look at this. Puzio lays it right in the breadbasket. Whoop! There goes Rio. Touchdown. And that was pretty much it. He had an interception late in the game. 44-6. Berlin completes, Pete, the 10-0 unbeaten season. And, congratulations to Coach Capodice. He takes a 10-year sabbatical, goes off and sits in the corner a little bit, goes up to Wesleyan, right? After all the brouhaha of the recruiting violations, everything, they have forfeited in 15. But Berlin said he's our guy again, and they gave it right back to him. And congratulations to them. The 10-0 came right out of the box. It's Coach Cap's second undefeated 10-0 season. The last time he was 10-0, though, he lost in the first round. But we'll have to see how they shake out in the Class M playoffs. And afterward, we did talk to those guys a little bit about what their chances are. And I did mention the SJ word to them. roll.
Yeah, great statement win, 44-6 against a great Middletown team. You know, we came out and we wanted it more. I think that's it. Starts from the off season. We worked our butts off all off season. Gotta give so much credit to Coach Cap, all the coaches. I think we have the best coaching staff in the state by far. I feel like our coach is what really separates us from the rest of the team, and our grit. Our players are gritty, and we got great coaches, and we showed it today.
We were blessed to put a staff together. You know, we didn't start until March. We were a late hire. You know, we had a terrific group of seniors who bought in right away, jumped into the weight room, and they're like, Coach, whatever you need. I had a relationship with them as their gym teacher, which was huge, and we've been blessed. You know, it's been a tremendous season. As you guys know, it's hard to win, very hard to win. But we were blessed to own the recipes to success, and we just had to take the cookbook out and start using the recipes again, and thankfully they bought into the recipes right away, and the staff bought in, and we were right back to work.
Our diversity on this team, it's ridiculous. We got depth at running back. We got depth at a lot of areas. We got young guys. We got seniors that have been playing on varsity for 3 years, and having that all come together, work as one cohesive unit, it's helped us a lot.
We had Will Blicky out today. He stepped up. Everyone else stepped out. Aiden Arcilla stepped up, and everyone played to the level we know we can. I don't think I can wait. We're going to be practicing all weekend ready for this. So.
Great job. Yeah, great statement win, 44-6 against a great Middletown team. You know, we came out.
Sean, we can't hear you, bud.
I did mention the St. Joe. St. Joe sitting there. Remember, a few years ago, almost 10 years ago now. But I remember St. Joe absolutely obliterated Berlin in that state championship game, 72 to.
I think it was 70-18. That was 2018.
Yeah, 70-18. It was just no contest. Everyone screaming, "Get St. Joe out of here!" They did go the next year to play in Class L. They won that too. They beat Hand in that epic game in 2019. Jaden Sheridan going nuts in the defense, playing great. But hey, listen, they're looking forward to the challenge. They all said it. We'll be ready. You know, can they do it? We'll see where they end up. I mean, right now, I like St. Joseph's chance to kind of get that top seed there. But just quickly back to Cap. Show Cap. Listen, congratulations to Cap. I mean, 10-0 right off the bat on his first season back. And he'd had a success before. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they were going for a 9th playoff run before he got suspended and then ultimately let go. But then he comes back 10 years later, 10-0, and they are back in the playoffs. And they only have the one state championship. Like I said, the 10-0 season was they lost in the quarterfinals. That was 2010. If I remember, or was it? Yeah, it was 2010. They were 10-0. But so very interesting there, but really nice job. I mean, and you know, you can't ask for a better comeback story, I guess. Pretty much.
But just
right
be
there.
careful what you wish for. Be
What's that?
careful what you wish for. Don't say, oh, you know, we're ready for St. Joe's or anything like that. Like, just be careful what you wish for. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Listen, everyone's called it the St. Joe Invitation. In fact, while they were going through the warm-up lines, I'm pretty sure one of the Berlin guys was looking at me. I don't know. I'm not going to say who I thought it was because I don't know if he was really talking to me or not. But he goes, "Yeah, St. Joe and everybody else." Which
yeah,
I did say.
Still true.
Which I did say. So, hey, guys, you got to show up. Got to show up. If you get that matchup, got to show up. Got to get there first, too. Got to get there first. So they're right now. They're looking at the top 2 seeds, Pete. Let's what are we doing? Where were we? We're at Class M, right? I don't even remember.
Yep.
But we need to talk about Sheehan Lyman Hall, Pete. And then we need to talk about Han Guilford, right? So Sheehan Lyman Hall, I mean, like I said, it's been what
12 years.
12 years since
12
Lyman
straight
Hall won.
wins. Well, 12 straight seasons.
And I don't know.
For Sheehan.
I haven't even
tied
seen
the series.
yet.
So Sheehan 13 seasons ago was actually trailing in the Carini Bowl. have won 12 straight to tie it up. I think it's 26-26 at the Carini Bowl. This one's fun. I covered this game a handful of times at my time at the Record Journal, a couple of times at the New Haven Register. I mean, like Lyman Hall's having a great season. You know, I wish they would have maybe performed a little bit better in the Guilford game, because that's where you need to perform if you're going to play against Sheehan and compete against Sheehan. So I'm going to go with Sheehan in this one, in the Creaney Bowl. Sheehan's going to take the lead in the series. But yeah, I'm going with the Titans.
Yeah, me too. Guilford really pretty much manhandle them. I don't know. And Sheehan has been playing with and playing well against some of the best teams in the SEC. I mean, they were playing for Prep, or who else was in there? They beat, who was the other? Was it North Haven?
They played North Haven. They played, who's their other loss to?
I don't remember.
I forgot who their other loss is to. They're all the way down in Class S. They lost to Cheshire. They played Cheshire well in that game, if I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah, and they did play well. So I mean, I like. I mean, Sheen's been. They play up and they give them that schedule, and they might complain under their breath a little bit, or maybe to each other, but they don't complain.
So they've played Waterford, who's in double S. Then they've played 1, 2, and 3. So Pomperog, North Haven, and Lyman Hall will be the M schools that they play this year. And then everyone else is higher than M.
Man, maybe they should be in the Class L or double L.
Yeah. So double L schedule.
The big one, we showed the thing last week. I don't want to subject Guilford to that carnage again, but they've only beaten Hand 5 times in as long as I've been alive for. And I think the series began in 1972. It was 71. They only won 5 times. They haven't won since 2006. I got to tell you this before we talk about it, though. Guilford looks like it's probably the best Guilford team I've ever seen. Obviously the quarterback's good. I mean, Aiden Cholo, look at him running away from the field here. He's like I said last week, he can play on my team any day. But Alex Tafford, the quarterback, then they have some guys, we don't talk about them nearly enough. And on the lines, they bust open holes. That they look like they put in a lot of work there. And the defensive guys have been great too. And they were just giving Lyman Hall fits. I mean, but Hand is Hand. I mean, and Hand, people go to that town, or they from birth, they get ready to be a Hand Tiger, and that's just their tradition. And they've got a lot of weapons. I mean, obviously, I only saw them the one time against St. Joe here, and they played just brilliantly in that game. And wow, I wish I could see that matchup again, but unfortunately, Hand is now down double S. But I'm gonna go Hand, Pete. I'm not gonna buck tradition. Yeah, I think Guilford's it's going to be a good game. I don't think Hand's gonna rout them by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think the Tigers eventually pull away. Who do you like in this one?
I mean, this, like you said, this is probably the best Guilford team that you've seen. Definitely the best Guilford team that I've seen. I haven't even seen them this year, just in general. Like,
well, they're definitely the best.
Just in seeing what they've done on paper. And look, Guilford hasn't won this game in a while, but here, the last 3 matchups, 2022 was 28-25. 23 was 36-20, and last year was 51-28. Now, yeah, those are like 30-point 20+ point differences, but like Guilford has been able to score in this series, and at least in the last couple of years. But I have a hard time picking against Goliath. So I'm going to go with Hand in this one. Excited to see Guilford go to the playoffs and see what they can do there, but I don't think they're at that level yet to compete with Hand.
They did have, remember, they had a 14, was it a 14-0 lead or 13-0 lead against Hand? Was that last year? No, it was 2 years ago, right? And you were like, whoa, could this be the year? I feel like it was, I don't even remember now. It was, they were going in, then Hand just there was like a fumble. They were going in to go up like 2 or 3 scores. And there was like a fumble at the goal line. And then from that point on, it was all Hand.
I think it was 23. Let me pull it up. I have the story right in front of me. It was, they were up 12-7 at halftime in 2023. And then it was all Hand. And then in 22, it was really close. That was the 1-score game.
It was
22 was they scored with 3 minutes late to make it 28-27. So yeah, it was probably 2 years ago. They were up at half.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a fascinating one. But and then the coach of Guilford at the time was believe Scott Benoit. And he was there for a few years, and now he's at the East Haven coach and did a really good job. Guilford's been struggling, but they're in the playoffs for the first time since 1993. So which is a long time, I believe.
Brian White on that team?
He was young. He and Tom Unger. I think Tom Unger was a sophomore on that team. So it's been a while, man.
Yeah.
But so that's gonna be fun. I'll be pleasantly surprised. Be at the surf club though in late November.
Yeah, it's hard to win at the surf club. It's hard to break streaks that are that long. It's a lot of things going against Guilford in this one.
Speaking of hand, let's take a look at their playoff prospects in Class SS. Here it is: Killingly, Hand, Nonawog. So basically, if they all win, it's going to be those seeds: Killingly, Hand, and Nonawog. And all three teams, as we mentioned, especially Killingly and Nonawog, are favored to win those games. Law-beating form will get on the 4. Ledyard is in there. Ellington must win to get in. They need to beat Rockville. We'll talk about the game in a second to get into this. Otherwise, they're in big trouble because Waterford has a spot to get in. New Fairfield plays New Milford. They should win that game, and they will get in for the first time since, I think, 21 or 22. Plainville. It's been a few years since Plainville, but not too long. I think 19 or 18, I think it was, when Plainville last made it. But they've had a great season. And hung right in there. So if they beat Farmington, they will get in there as well. Waterford's chance right now is basically one of those teams above them to lose. Craig wants everybody to lose. Barlow and Rocky Hill do have a chance, and they would need a few of those teams to lose. They have a chance. They got to win those games first. Barlow needs to beat Weston, which they should, and then Rocky Hill plays Cromwell Portland, which is a tough one. But very, very interesting that Barlow has played in Rocky Hill, which has been kind of pesky all year. Play themselves into this and are still in the running as of right now. A couple days from now, we'll see. But obviously, the Class SS. So that the Rockville team. I mean, Rockville does not lose to Ellington, Pete. It's been a while. No. And Ellington, I said if they didn't win last year, they're going to be in trouble. But they ended up sneaking into the playoffs. Then they went to Killingly and they absolutely got their doors blown off. And I remember talking to Aaron Latter about it, and he's like, "Well, we want to get back. We want to prove." That we can ball, that, we're not, we don't, we want to kind of redeem ourselves. We've got a lot of seniors, got a lot of good players in that team. I'd like to see them in the playoffs, but I don't know, Pete. I mean, Rockville only had the one hiccup, right? And then they just last week.
Yeah, the win against Cromwell Portland for Rockville was kind of huge because they stumbled against Crack, and we were kind of like, okay, like, all right, there's no way they're going to beat Cromwell Portland, and then they go out and they beat Cromwell Portland. And look, they got guys. I mean, they do such a great job up there. That entire coaching staff, what they've done since, Eric took over in 2018, which is kind of crazy when you look at it. Like the last time Ellington beat Rockville was 2017, and ever since then it's been Rockville. Shutout, 7 points allowed, shutout, 20 points allowed, 21 points allowed, shutout last year. Yeah. I mean, this screams Rockville win. I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously, if you listen to the show, obviously, I'm going to pick Rockville. It's nothing against Ellington. Aaron Latter is a fan favorite of ours. We're big fans of him and the way he can play.
This play against Randy.
Yeah, dude, make sure you put that in the nomination form for Play of the Year for the award show. But he's just an absolute baller. He's going to have to do a lot in this game if Ellington's going to have a chance to win. And Ellington's had some great players who have come and played in this game, and Rockville's been able to just dominate. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Rockville in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rockville too, and Ellington's going to be sweating for the rest of the week. They play Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So they'll be sweating Thanksgiving morning. Maybe they might know. Who knows? We'll see. So that's Class SS. Like I said, if you want to know all like the very specifics, I can't remember what I did 2 hours ago, other than work on this thing. You can see how big a disaster this show has been for me. But if you wanted to know all the playoff points, it's on GametimeCT.com. We'll have it all broken down for you. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email or wherever. Okay. Getting to the last one, everyone's been screaming about it. Yeah. Woodland Seymour. We save the best for last. But let's kind of start off at the top with the Class S standings. This is pretty simple right here. 6 teams are in Woodland and Seymour. They play Wednesday night at the Hawk's Nest. I guess they call them that. Well, that's the student section. I'll call it the Hawks. With a Kyle Brennan Memorial Field. Inside joke. Anyway, Woodland Seymour. This game has been just fantastic over the years. But the winner of that will get the top seed. Will that be a good thing or a bad thing? We'll have to see. North Branford winning in over Coggins-Chalk. Cromwell Portland winning in over. Oh, they're already in. I'm sorry. North Branford will get a top seed with a win over Coggins-Chalk. Cromwell Portland will get one of the top seeds, most likely the 4, with a win over Rocky Hill. Sheehan is going to need one of those teams probably to lose or kind of max out in bonuses. It's not looking great. They could get there, but right now I see Sheehan as a 5, and Northwest Catholic plays East Catholic. They're kind of stuck right in that 6th spot. There's a chance to move up as people lose, but Ansonia is the one. Ansonia and Bloomfield, the two teams I saw at the start of the season. Bloomfield had a shot against Windsor to clinch. They couldn't do it. Windsor's just too good. Ansonia's been just will they make it for the 18th? Was it 18th or 19th consecutive? They have not missed a state playoffs, Ansonia, since Tom Brockett's first year, because Jack Hunt he went out and they didn't go to the playoffs that year. Ansonia wins against Naugatuck, and they have not done great against Naugatuck the last few years. Naughty has won 2. They've split, but Naughty has won 2 of the last 4. And remember, they can never beat Ansonia. And now it seems like Chris Anderson's kind of got their number a little bit. But Naughty also has not been having a great season, although they have been in a lot of games. They almost beat Seymour. They did beat Torrington. And the Seymour one was very interesting. I think Naugatuck's starting to, get a little bit of momentum next year. We'll talk about. Well, I guess we'll talk about Ansonia and Naughty first. Pete, who do you like in that one?
So if you get rid of the first 3 games of Naugatuck season, right? They got shut out by Darien. They lost by a touchdown or less than they lost by 6 to Holy Cross. They got blown out by Woodland, right? Let's wipe those 3. 0-3, take them out. They beat Gilbert. They lost to Waterbury Career in overtime. They beat Kennedy by 1, kind of a head scratcher. They almost beat Seymour, but they lost by 5. They beat Torrington, and they got
a big lead. I think they had a 2 TD lead in that Seymour game.
And they beat St. Paul via forfeit. And I'm going with Naugatuck in this game. I picked Naugatuck. I just, like you said, they've Chris Anderson's kind of had their number since they came back. We're starting to see, I don't want to say the Ansonia of old, but they're back. They're winning. They're on a 3-game win streak. But I don't know. I like Naugatuck in this one. The win over Torrington was kind of showing signs of life. This is a young Naugatuck team, right, that we knew was replacing a lot of players. Juniors all over the field, sophomores all over the field. I don't want to say I really like Naugatuck's chances, but Naugatuck has a chance to keep Ansonia out of the playoffs. I'm going to go with the Greyhounds in this one.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with Ansonia. I don't know. This is the year to pick against them. This is it, because it's also a young Ansonia team. A lot of the stars were up and coming. They only have a few seniors. Obviously, our guy on the line, Red Romanowski, and Jaden. What's his last name? All of a sudden, I can't remember. Jaden Whittle. Jeez, sorry, Jaden. But he's good. And it's just been a young team, and the quarterback's young, and they're all just kind of a interesting squad. I'm going to go with Ansonia, though. I think they're going to be properly motivated to win this game, because they don't not want to be the team that let the streak snap. But they're the defending champs. We'll see too. We'll see if they have a little pride here. Danny, throw the Class SS standings back up again. Let me just quickly, before we go on to Woodland and Seymour. No, that's SS. Sorry, I meant S. Listen to me. Here it is. Like I said, Woodland Seymour winner will get that top seed. Those 2 schools could end up being. So here's what Griswold. I didn't even talk about this. Here's what Griswold Wheeler needs. Griswold Wheeler needs to beat Plainfield, Quinnebog Co-op, and then get just enough bonus help to outpoint Bloomfield. I like Bloomfield's chances, but it's a dangerous spot right now. Now, if Ansonia wins, they could get actually even bumped up even higher. They might even get the 6 with the Naugatuck, because Naugatuck, remember, it's an L school, and for a Class S school, that's 130 points without them winning a game. But Naugatuck's got 4 wins, so that's 190. 180 or 90, 180 points for Ansonia if they win that game. That's a huge boost, and that might get them over Northwest Catholic with when all our stuff comes in. We'll see. But Woodland. Let's say Woodland wins Bloomfield, or Seymour wins Bloomfield, or let's say maybe Ansonia doesn't win. Ansonia does have a shot to get in. But as long as Griswold Wheeler loses, if Ansonia loses that game, Griswold Wheeler must lose or they are out. The rest of HK and Valley have no shot. But that's going to be very interesting to see where Ansonia and or Bloomfield lands in relation to Woodland Seymour. I'm sure you're like North Branford, Crummell, and Sheehan. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Sheehan's scared of anybody. But it'd be very interesting to see how they all land. I mean, that should be fascinating. But let's quickly talk about Woodland. Pete, you said it at the top of the season that Woodland was a team that was probably built to win a state championship, and then getting the Pringles on board, which I completely forgot about as we did the season previews. Woodland's a state champion contender, but I don't know. What do you think of this one? Seymour? I mean, Seymour's been living on the edge all year.
Yeah, Seymour's been living on the edge. And I said it last show, like, there's something to be said about winning those games, but you prefer to not be in them. You prefer to win a game, prefer to win a game by a couple of scores, which Seymour has done this year. But the Cardiac Cats, right, or whatever they're calling themselves, they like to play in these games. Here's the thing about Woodland. Woodland doesn't find themselves in these games, right? Just taking a quick look at their schedule. They have played, the closest game they have played this year is to Ansonia, and they won by 21 points. Okay. They have just purely dominated opponents. They've allowed double digits twice. To Naugatuck, they allowed 28, and I think that all came in the second half. And against their backups, and Holy Cross put up 14 on them. And I think you were there for that one.
I was there for that.
I'm going to go with Woodland in this game. I don't want to say it's easy because both teams are 9-0. It's Thanksgiving, but I'm confident in my pick in Woodland that Woodland is going to finish the season 10-0.
Look at these scores from Woodland. 49-6, 48-0, 58-28, Naughty. Watertown 50-7, Crosby 44-8, Ansonia 27-8, and Wolcott 68-zip, Holy Cross 42-14. Holy Cross hung around, then once their quarterback went down, Brady. Once he went down, that was good night, Irene, and then Kennedy 48-0. And Seymour, I think Seymour has just got a lot of what's the intestinal fortitude, to borrow a phrase, right? I mean, they don't say die. I mean, Cortello and Connor Shea, great players. They've just been there all year long, and their guys up front have been pretty good. Whenever you get Seymour down, man, they just come flying back at you. That said, I'm going with Woodland. I think Woodland wins big in this one. The guys we don't ever really talk about, I think I mentioned them a few weeks ago, but Colby Marson, the linebacker, and who was the other one? Trent Bukowski. Ridiculous players. Those guys are animals, and I absolutely love it. Pete,
Woodland
best linebackers I've seen all season.
Woodland is averaging 48 points a game. Yeah. And they're allowing 7.7 points a game. So they're averaging 7 touchdowns a game and averaging 1 touchdown allowed a game.
Yeah.
This is a pure dominant season so far by Woodland.
And you got Pringles too. And we don't even talk about Brunetti anymore. You got all these stars around him. He was like the star last year, and then we're like, nah. Now it's like all these other dudes. But that's the mark of a great team, man. I mean, Seymour's I'd be a good one to go to. We certainly good one to go to. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but that'll be going. Like I said, I'm going to pick Woodland. I'm going to say they're going to get the top seed. But here's the problem, though. Now, we all like Woodland's Sheehan, Pete, in the final. it might not even get to that. We might have to see this
know.
game in the semifinals. If
Ugh.
Sheehan ends up as the prey, I don't care. I don't care how it happens. I'm not rooting against anybody, but Sheehan's got to be on the other side of that bracket somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Sheehan, what does Sheehan need to get to the 7? Sheehan needs to get to what, the 3, which I don't think they can.
It's going to be very tough for them.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
And right now, that's what it's looking like. Now, Seymour could beat Woodland, but still, they still need to get to the 3.
I mean, that semifinal game would be amazing. Amazing if they could get in. If they could get. Now, Sheehan played Woodland in 2019. They beat him. They beat Ansonia in 2019 in the playoffs. Who they beat last year. I don't want to say they've had their way with NVL schools, but they've played a bunch of them in the state playoffs recently. They beat Wolcott in 2018. So I think they're 3-0 against NVL teams in the last, decade in the playoffs. So I like Sheehan's odds in that game.
Here's what I wrote. Sheehan's most likely to fly with the victory over Lyman Hall, unless unless Cromwell, Portland, or North Branford lose. They'll fall no further than number 6 with a loss. If they lose to Lyman Hall, maybe that's the way to go.
Yeah, maybe. But
I don't know, man. I'd love to see it. I mean, that's the problem. What are you going to do? These points, sometimes the best 2 teams don't. It hasn't happened recently, has it?
I know, but you just look at their schedules and I don't want to harp on this, but it's just it's like a disservice to Woodland and Seymour and North Branford and Cromwell, Portland and Northwest Catholic and Ansonia and Bloomfield. When you look at who they've played this year, and then you flip it to who Sheehan has played. And it's all right, well, who's battle tested? And it's well, Sheehan is every single time. Now, the problem with playing a schedule like that is staying healthy. You don't get to take guys out in the second half. You don't get to take guys out in the fourth quarter, And Woodland's played 1, Naugatuck and L, Crosby and double L, Kennedy and double L. All right. So they played 2 double L schools and an L school. Those schools are not Fairfield Prep. Those schools are not, Shelton or Cheshire. It's just different.
If Sheehan and Woodland end up in the semis, get your tickets now. We got to figure, where is that being played? If it's going to be at Woodland, get your tickets now. Get your spot. We got to hit Kyle Brennan up for parking. I don't know what we got to do over there, but get your tickets. That's the state championship will be played. In my humble opinion, will be played. I mean, I love you, Seymour. Show up. Let's see it. If you could shock the world, I would eat my words, but right now, I mean, like we said, Woodland looks like the dominant team, and get your ticket. I mean, Sheehan, Woodland, get your tickets now.
Yeah,
that sucks. That won't be at where are we playing the state finals anyway? Do we know that yet?
They haven't announced. They have not announced it yet.
They're playing at Gillette, Massachusetts. Everybody plays there. They know every year. We always do this.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I haven't gone to Rentschler any of the years since it moved back. I've been at Central. But as cool as it is to play at Rentschler, because UConn's awesome. They win 9 games again, second year in a row, and it's really cool. That place doesn't fill. And it looks just so weird. Central,
like that too. It's even worse there.
Yeah, but at least Gillette, you're it's just where the New England Patriots play. This is where Tom Brady played. This is it's a little different. Joe Fangano, the UConn quarterback, is having an amazing season, but he's not Tom Brady. And a lot of these kids grow up Patriot fans in Massachusetts. So, or even the Jersey championships are played at MetLife. And it's you either grow up a Giants fan or a Jets fan, and you get to say that you played there. It's not saying that people aren't excited to say that they're playing at Rentschler Field, but it doesn't have the same.
No, you're right.
It doesn't have the same, oomph behind it as MetLife or Gillette. I've thought Central has been great. Some of the games I've gone to, if you get the right schools I was there for Ansonia Bloomfield a couple of years ago, and it was packed out on the Ansonia sideline. I was there, New Canaan Maloney. It was packed out on both sides. Then you get to some of the later games, and it was like it was Valley and Joel Barlow, and it was like there wasn't really that
hard
great
for
of
a
a
lot
crowd.
of Fairfield County schools to get there, like New Canaan.
It's not hard for them to get there. They just choose not to go there.
You missed. I don't mean hard for them. I mean it's hard for them to go there. They just don't like going. They don't like traveling out beyond the Housatonic River.
Yeah.
For some understandable reasons, traffic can be a nightmare, but like it's a weekend, so guys, it's not that far.
Well, someone just said in the chat, CIAC should give Sacred Heart a call. Sacred Heart's in the middle of renovations on their field or around their field.
That could be one.
They're putting stands in on the away side, so I don't know if this year would be the year to go to Sacred Heart.
That's going to be one.
But I think Sacred Heart will be one eventually. I haven't been to Gestow at Southern in a while, but I know that their other side isn't that great. Their away side for
Southern's
stands
always been like
great.
they really wanted. I mean, if I remember correctly, Southern really just never wanted anything to do with it. They did a few games, and then they're like,
yeah. Someone says the Yale Bowl. I know it's super expensive to just open the doors there. Now, granted, the Yale season isn't over because the Ivy Leagues get to play in the FCS champion playoffs now. So Yale's going to the playoffs, but Yale doesn't have a home game. So I can't imagine that stadium is still open. I would be interested in UNH. I like their field. I like UNH's field a lot.
I haven't
Obviously,
been there
the blue
in
turf.
like 20 years.
I think the blue turf is very cool. I'm like torn because like I've covered state championships at New Britain. I've covered state championships at Trumbull High School. And like they're nice places. Like, don't get me wrong, but they don't have that like championship feel. But then you go to like these colleges and you're like, Rentschler, UConn, Bruce Springsteen played here. And then you look at the stands and you're like, this doesn't have a championship feel either.
I have a soft spot in my heart for West Haven. Love it there. You just know where to work as for a journalist. Not that anyone cares. I always thought that was just, I don't know. I mean, I went to so many finals there in the first, 10 years of doing this.
It would be a really cool place to host a championship in terms of like having enough working and like the parking's not bad and the seating's really good, but the field is abysmal. Rafferty. I think Rafferty would be a great place to host the championship, except that the field is not a football field.
No, I know.
But that place would be rocking, I think, for state championships.
I watched
lacrosse. They host the lacrosse semifinals there. They've hosted the lacrosse championships there, and that place gets packed out. The parking is not crazy. There's a lot of different places to park on campus and like short walk to the field. And there's they have the nice high press box and stuff. I think Rafferty would be great, but they don't treat it like a football field. So it's impossible to really host a championship game.
Yeah. I watched when you look, I cover games at Rafferty but when you watch it on TV, you're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's hard even on the field to even know. Dude, there have been times I've been at the games there and I've noticed that I'm standing 3 yards into the end zone. And I'm like, what? Anyway. I'm like, where am I? How did I get? Because you can't see the line. And this is not a knock. This is not like a knock on Fairfield Prep or anything like that.
We use like some sort of wash, something.
Oh boy. Yeah. But I do think Sacred Heart, I think there's a future at Sacred Heart.
Yeah, they do
the renovations that they're doing. They have a lot of place to work. I know that they're potentially putting in a new press box in the next couple of years because their press box is so small. But I'm just trying to think, like, there's so many, and like New Britain's nice, but it just doesn't have that championship feel. And I hate going to that press box. I get really scared going up the stairs there. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, is there a perfect place? Like, you're going to get all the Fairfield County people bumping their chest saying Boyle Stadium. We haven't mentioned Boyle.
I I did love covering those games at Boyle.
Oh my God, Boyle's great, but that press box is smaller than my little desk that I'm sitting at right now. It's an impossible place to work. And to be fair, yes, I know, FCX, Fairfield County, blah, blah, blah. That's not an easy drive for anyone who's not in Fairfield County. Stanford and traffic is a nightmare getting to Stanford.
Yeah. Well, the only time we would ever play there is if New Canaan and Darien are in it. And there's they're both undefeated. And
yeah, but the problem is with 6 championships now, and you single out one game to play there, it makes it impossible for us to get to as many as possible.
Yeah, I know. All right, look, we got to go.
I know.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for dealing with all foible screw ups, and I appreciate it. It's been a long week, guys. Hopefully we're at the end. The light's at the end of the tunnel. I can't wait. Games tomorrow, games Wednesday night, and games Thursday. Thanksgiving is here, folks. We're not picking for people who ask, we're not picking all the games. We're just picking some of the highlights. We weren't going to do all the way.
But we'll have the picks up tomorrow. There are 20 Thanksgiving week games that'll go up on Game Time tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. See who we picked.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Long show. All right, but hey, tis the season to be jolly. All right, for people, go out, Sean Baxter Foley. Make sure you like, subscribe on Instagram or in the YouTube, and give us a thumbs up and tell us what you think. And have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you later.
Love you all.